Good morning. So we started the other day a Maamar, and the Maamar is printed in Melukot Beis, Tana Rabbanan. The Rebbe asked a series of questions that, first from the Friedrich Rebbe, what the Alter Rebbe says, that what's the connection? We're saying that there's a machlekes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, how we light the menorah, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like we do it, or the opposite, 9, 8, 7, 6. And Beis Shammai says is that we have to look at the Parei HaChag, and just like Parei HaChag goes down in numbers, so too in regards to Chanukah. And Beis Hillel says you're right, but Malam Hakedesh Remeridin. Morning. So first of all, we asked what's the connection between Chanukah and Parei HaChag. Also, we asked that there's a special connection to 8. Pasebes, both of them have 8. What's the connection of Sukkot and Chanukah to the number 8? Also, we're instituting Neiros Chanukah. Why? Because of the Nes, that the Neiros in the Mikdash. In the Mikdash there were 7, so why do we have 8? I was saying Dafkad has a connection to the Parei HaChag, that the Neiros Chanukah have a connection to the Menorah. The Menorah was lit in the Heichel. And the Parei HaChag was brought on the Mizbeach, which the Menorah and the Mizbeach are opposite. It's opposite the two different Kalim and the two different meanings in Aveda. Also, we have to understand if the mitzvah Ner Chanukah is from Shkia, and Neiros HaMikdash was lit a lot earlier from Plaga Mincha. Okay, so then the Rebbe got into the whole beer that the whole what's Neiros Chanukah is to light up the darkness, to dispel the darkness, to light up the darkness. Now, the Nes of Chanukah was after the Yidden came, the Yevonim, they went into the Heichel and they were Matam al the Shmanim. And what the whole fight of the Yevonim were against the Yidden was the fact that the Yidden are being involved in Torah. But not only involved in Torah, in the Torah's Alikecha, the Torah of Hashem. In other words, they didn't have a problem with, let's say, the Mishpat and the Eidos, they didn't have an issue with it. The issue was Dafka the Chukim. And the last thing we left off is that in Chukim, there's 2 ways to learn it. One way to learn it is that through Eidos and Mishpatim, which are mitzvahs sichlius, that Yevonim were maskim. And the whole war was against the Chukim. And the second explanation that I've explained, a little deeper, or a lot deeper, is that in every mitzvah, you have the chukim of that mitzvah. In other words, even in the mitzvah of Eidos and Mishpatim, you have a choik in the mitzvah, which is just doing it because that's what Hashem commanded us, and that they were opposed to. So we're holding now on Ois Dalet. So the Rebbe says like this: Yuvan Zal Piayidu. We'll understand this by first bringing down what we know. Shegam ha-mitzvahs to Eidos and Mishpatim tzarich l'kayim beikar mipnei shem ratzon Hashem kamei hachukim. The mitzvahs of Eidos and Mishpatim, a Yid has to fulfill it beikar because there are the will of Hashem, just like chukim. Ve'yin zeh shegam ha-mitzvahs sheish aleim tam tzarich l'kayim mipnei shem ratzon Hashem. This concept that every mitzvah that we do, we have to primarily do it, be mekayim it, because that's what Hashem wants. Not only when we speak about the person who's actually fulfilling the mitzvah, that when a Yid is mekayim a mitzvah, it has to be in a way of an eved, like Dr. Rebbe writes in Tanya. So the real way to, when we're saying that when we do a mitzvah, or when we're mekayim a mitzvah, it has to be because of in a way like a chukim, even Eidos and Mishpatim. So it's not only mitzvah the person that his mitzvahs that he does has to be in a way of avedis eved, which that's primarily when you're seichel, when there's no time and seichel involved. It's because that's what Hashem commanded. So the Rebbe says, "Alagam mitzad ha-mitzvahs." Also mitzad the mitzvahs, not only mitzad the person being mekayim it, but also the mitzvahs itself. Ki chol ha-mitzvahs, all mitzvahs, gam ha-mitzvahs sheish lehem tam. Every mitzvah, even mitzvahs that have a reason, heim ritzen yisbarach. They are the will of Hashem, which is ratzon shalamal matam, which is will, which is higher than any reason. It's only that Hashem decided that some of the mitzvahs that he commanded us, there will be a reason for it. But even after the Ratzon of Hashem is in there, and the Ratzon of Hashem has a reason, nevertheless, the mitzvahs really are higher than understanding. Just that Hashem did us a favor that some of the mitzvahs we understand. But the Rebbe says not only that, even the reason of the mitzvahs that we know about really are higher than any understanding. Because the real reason of the mitzvahs is just like the level of the Chachma of Hashem. And he ain't safe. Since the Chachma of Hashem is at the level of ain't safe, it's infinite. Especially Hashem's Chachma, and Hashem Himself is one. So if Hashem is infinite, His Chachma is also infinite. It's impossible for a human whose intellect is confined by the realms of a nivra. It's impossible for him to really understand the mitzvahs, the tama mitzvahs, the mitzvahs, tama mitzvahs. Like the Alter Rebbe writes in the Gersh HaKedesh, Shetaimei mitzvahs l'nisgalu, that the real reason of mitzvahs were not revealed to us, and they're higher than any understanding. And even when Hashem does through the Svarim tell us the reason of the mitzvahs, we know it's just a reason, but it's not the real ultimate reason. Okay, so the Rebbe says this concept, now, this idea that the true understanding of a mitzvah, it's not even the ultimate truth of how we understand it. A person can understand why. It's understood in the human intellect. Even a simple intellect, a simple person understands. So a person knows that my capacity, my understanding is very limited. So it's impossible for my understanding, my capacity to actually understand something which is infinite. On the contrary, and the fact that we do understand sometimes something, it's a big wonder. It's just that the kindness of Hashem let us understand something. Now, and even after that Hashem did us a kindness and He lets us understand part of His mitzvahs, it's known that even the understanding is on the general part of the mitzvahs, but not on the details. Now, the Rebbe is saying, Shemikol Zeh movement, from this it's all understood, Shegam HaMitzvahs, the Eidus Mishpatim, Him Kumoi Chukim Legabenu. Even the Eidus and Mishpatim, which, so to speak, we do understand it, you should know it's really Chukim. Why? Because the time and mitzvahs that are mitzad chachma of Hashem are really higher than understanding. Your will, which is the Ratzon of Hashem is higher than the chachma. Now, and this is what it means. We're explaining the last part, where we said that in the actual mitzvah, the chukei, the tzenecha, they had an issue with. So what does it mean that the Yevanim, the Greeks, tried to take away a yid from the chukei tzenecha? It's also in the mitzvahs and edus and mishpatim. In other words, we're saying till now that the Yevanim, they didn't have an issue with edus and mishpatim. Their issue was dafka with the chukim. So what I'm saying is that when we're saying mechukei tzenecha, it's also going on mitzvahs, on all mitzvahs, even mitzvahs of edus and mishpatim. Why? The Yevanim wanted to uproot this feel that a yid has, the godly feel that a yid has for mitzvahs. Shekol ha-mitzvahs, hem chachmas yisbar shalmana ma-seichel anushi. All the mitzvahs are the chachma of Hashem, which are higher than seichel anushi. Lahavide mechukei, ubikshel aker chas v'shalom tzahegel shebemitzvahs hem ritzon yisbar chutzinecha. So what were the Yevanim trying to accomplish? That in the mitzvah itself, even in the Eidos Mishpatim, the godly part of that mitzvah, which comes from the level of chukim, that they try to obliterate, so abolish. So what we're saying is in Dalit is to understand this second level of that even that mechukei ritzinecha is in every mitzvah they try to abolish, even in Eidos Mishpatim. So he says that all the mitzvahs of Eidos Mishpatim we really have to be mekayim because that's the lesson of Hashem. Now, not only mitzad the person himself, that a person has to just be submissive and be in a way of an eved, but even in the mitzvah itself, every mitzvah is the Ratzon of Hashem. And it's just that sometimes Hashem does us a favor and lets us understand part of the mitzvah. But you should know that really the real Amitas Ha'inyan of understanding the mitzvah, it's really higher than a seichel. Number one is mitzad because it comes from the Chacham of Hashem. First of all, it's Ratzon, which is higher than understanding. And even the Chachma of the mitzvahs that we do understand, you should know that Chachma is the level of Ein Seif, and a person who's Mugbal can't understand that mitzvahs atama mitzvahs. And even a regular person understands that my seichel is limited, that I can't understand something which is higher than infinite, or something that's infinite. And that's exactly, in short, what the Yevanim, we just finished the Eis Dalet. That's exactly what the Yevanim were trying to accomplish. The Yevanim did not have an issue with when one performs a mitzvah, do a mitzvah because it makes a lot of sense. Keep Shabbos because, okay, it makes sense. God rested on the seventh day. Don't kill, don't steal because it makes a lot of sense. You know, I think we were discussing, we were discussing the other day, I think it was with you, you know, you think to yourself, okay, I need the Torah to tell me don't kill, don't steal. Like, it makes a lot of sense. You're a human being. You have, you're a mensch. And, you know, okay, don't kill. Like, you don't do those things. But you see now what's going on. You see, like, when Le'aleinu, you have like what's going on in Hamas, you have a nation that's trained that not only life is not important, but it's you're a hero, and your whole essence, your whole training, your whole education is all killing. That's where seichel comes in and twists things. And if the Eibusher will not tell us not to kill, not to steal, so our seichel can tell us, you know, maybe it's not a bad thing. You can start justifying for yourself. So the Yevanim, they could not take the fact that the Yidden were just being Mekayim mitzvahs because Hazei at the Eibusher Gehes, and that's what Hashem wanted. Hey. Now we can understand the terminology, the nuance. The Gemara says that when the Yevanim came into the Heichel, they were metama all the oil in the Heichel. The mashma is haloshen. What comes out from this lashon? Kishenichnasu the Heichel hine yishtadlu v'nis amtzu l'tamei es hashman. Why? If you look at the Gemara, what does it say? That when they came into the Heichel, what was the first thing they did? Timu kol ashmanim. They were metama all the oil, which means that they had a certain alacrity, they had a certain zealousness, a certain mission that they right away had to be metama the Heichel. Why? So the Rebbe says like this: Ki Heichel hu bina. When you look in Heichel, what's a Heichel? It's like antechamber. Antechamber. It's like bina. It expounds. You have like a v'shemen hu chachma. Shemen is the level of chachma, which is shelamayla ma'aseichel de bina, which chachma is higher than the seichel of bina. Kanal siv beis shemen hu kanas kedesh. Like we explained, the siv beis, the shemen is the level of kedesh, which is separate, which is higher. So the heichel is bina, shemen is chachma. V'lachein timu kol hashmana shebeheichel de bina. So therefore, they were metama all the oil where in the heichel, which is bina. Why? As mizimasam, because they wanted to carry out their plot. So they came in and they were metam the shmanim. Why? Because shmanim is chachma, which is higher than seichel. Where do they do that? They did it in the level of Heichel, in the level of Bina. Because what did they want? They wanted that a Yid should be Mekayim the mitzvahs only mitzvah seichel. It's a very cute word. I said this a few times, but if you notice in Chanukah, so the dreidel, the pin that you spin on is on top. By the Gragger, Purim, it's on the bottom. So what does it say? It's not brought down in the Lubavitch Svarim, but Chassidish Svarim say that in Chanukah, the whole Mechama of Chanukah was an Inyan Ruchni, which is Mamayla Lamata. Like we just said, that the Yevonim didn't have an issue of them learning Torah, just take out the whole Mitzad Chukei Tzeinecha. So it was a war Mamayla Lamata. That's why the pin is on top. Purim is the exact opposite. Haman wanted to lashkichem the labed or minar v'azok taf v'noshim. He wanted to eradicate all the Yidden, the Gashmias. So that's more mata lamayla. That's why showing that it's more of a physical war. Okay, vov v'hinei b'chtei l'natzel mechama zu. So in order to be victorious in this mechama, a maspika aveda shal pitam v'das. It's not enough to have an aveda just with understanding tam v'das. And even to have an Aveda which is higher than Tamadas, but it's connected to Tamadas, which is an Aveda mitzad, let's say, the level of Makif of Chaya, which is in Chassidus called Makif HaKodev, it's also not enough. Why? Since the Yevonim were mitam all the shmanim in Heichel. Hainu gam an yonim de kedusha shalamadim mitam v'das alak shulim mitam v'das, which they wanted to eradicate, even things which are kedusha higher than tam v'das, but are connected to tam v'das. Now, how is one victorious? How are they victorious over this mechama? Is with the aveda of Mesiras Nefesh. What does that mean? The inyan of Mesiras Nefesh hi hamida b'teikif neged kol hamenim u'ma'akim. Mesiras Nefesh means that you're standing strong against all opposition. Teikif atzmi shalamayla ma'aseichel agami. You have a certain strength which is higher than any understanding. U'kumay Mesiras Nefesh al kedushas Hashem she'enim mitzad ezes svara sichlis, like a yid when he has mitzvah kedushas Hashem or kiddush Hashem, it's not mitzad. You understand it. It's impossible to, like the Alter Rebbe writes in the end of Perek Ches in Tanya, that a Yid, it's impossible to be otherwise. So, this comes from the connection of the essence of the soul, which is the level of Bchinas Yechida, which is the highest level, the level of Yechida. What's the idea of Iskashus? Atzmis is that you can't have it any other way. And just like the level of Yechida, you cannot have any blemish there or any impurity. It's like the pach echad that they found, which is munach b'cheis mishal kohen gadol, which means that no external forces can get a hold of it. So, hine idea avodah the Mesiras Nefesh, shemitzad Yechidas, through the avodah Mesiras Nefesh, mitzad the highest level of the neshama of the Yechida. Idea dafke menatzchem esamachama dafke through the level of Mesiras Nefesh, then you can be victorious in the war. Just like the actual war of the Yevonim in the actual war, even though Matasyahu and his children were from the weaker ones, like Rashi in B'zeit HaBracha says, there was maybe 12 or 13 of Matasyahu fighting against the Yevonim. Nevertheless, they stood strong and they had Mesiras Nefesh against the strong ones. And by through their Mesiras Nefesh, they were able to accomplish the Mesiras Nefesh and affect other Yidden around them to have this Kiddush Hashem, and through that, through that they were victorious in the Mechama. All right, Mr. Hashem will continue the Maimer next week, and we'll finish it. Have a Freilich Chanukah.